house stood alone at the edge of Raventon Woods, where the trees leaned too close and whispered when the wind blew. No one built it, at least no one remembered doing so. It simply appeared one morning 20 years ago, a perfect wooden cabin where yesterday there had been only ferns and roots. Locals said the forest spat it out. Hunters who ventured near claimed the walls seemed to breathe. One even swore the door whispered his name. No one went there twice, until Daniel Pierce, a surveyor and drone mapper, arrived. He didn't believe in legends. He believed in structures, walls, beams, concrete decay. When his company was assigned to map Raventon for a new housing project, Daniel took it as a challenge. But when the drone camera picked up a structure deep inside the restricted zone, his curiosity turned into obsession. The coordinates didn't exist on any map. No records, no ownership. Just a house that wasn't supposed to be there. He packed light, flashlight, GPS, small axe, thermos, and hiked in before dawn. The forest was silent, unnaturally so. The kind of silence that eats sound instead of holding it. By midday, he found it. The cabin was immaculate. Wooden panels unrotted, glass clear, chimney cold but clean. There was no dust, no cobwebs, no smell of age. The front door stood half open, as if waiting for him. Inside, everything was arranged as though someone had just left. A cup half full of tea on the table, a chair slightly pulled out, and a small notebook resting beside an unlit candle. He called out, "Hello?" Only the forest answered. He picked up the notebook. The cover was leather, the pages yellowed but strong. There was handwriting, looping, neat, and on the first page, a single sentence. "The house remembers who enters." Daniel frowned. He flipped to the next page. More writing, detailed accounts of people entering the cabin. Names, dates, descriptions. But when he reached the last written entry, his heart stopped. Daniel Pierce arrived today, 3:46 p.m. He froze. He looked at his watch. It was 3:46 p.m. He dropped the notebook and stepped back, nearly tripping over the chair. "That's not possible," he muttered. "Someone's here." He searched the entire cabin, the kitchen, the single bedroom, even the crawl space under the floorboards. Nothing. No footprints but his own. Yet he couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The air felt heavier now, thicker. Then, as he passed a small mirror on the wall, he noticed something. His reflection blinked a second too late. He stopped cold. His breath came short. He leaned closer. The reflection stared back, perfectly still, and smiled. He stumbled away, grabbed his flashlight, and rushed for the door. But the handle wouldn't turn. It wasn't locked. It was part of the wall now, melted seamlessly into the wood. The entire cabin had changed. The windows were gone. The walls seemed closer. He turned around. The table, the chair, the notebook, all gone. Just four walls, bare. And on the one opposite him, faint words began to carve themselves into the wood, letter by letter, as if an invisible hand were writing. "The house remembers who enters. The house keeps what it remembers." Daniel screamed, slamming the walls, kicking the boards. They sounded hollow, as if there was space behind them. He pressed his ear to the wall and froze. He heard breathing, slow, human, from inside the walls. He struck the wall with his axe. Wood splintered, revealing darkness beyond. He tore at it, desperate, until a pale human eye stared back from the gap. He fell backward, horrified. Then a hand pushed through the crack, skin gray, nails black, veins pulsing under thin flesh. More eyes appeared along the wall, blinking wetly. Dozens, hundreds, each one watching him, each one knowing him. He scrambled to his pack, fumbling for his phone. His camera, anything, but both were dead. The air grew colder. The whispers started then. Hundreds of voices overlapping, some murmuring his name, others sobbing. Then one voice, deep, hollow, spoke clearly from the darkness. "You shouldn't have come back, Daniel." He froze. Back? He'd never been here before. Or had he? He looked around and noticed the wallpaper now had faint outlines, like silhouettes pressed into it. Dozens of them, people, faces. He touched one, and it felt warm. The wallpaper pulsed faintly like skin. Then, as if awakening, all the walls began to move. The floorboards bent upward. The ceiling lowered. The cabin was breathing. He fell to his knees, choking as the air turned thick and metallic. The voice came again, closer, whispering through the wood. "Every visitor leaves a memory. Every memory needs a body." And then the floor opened beneath him. He fell into blackness, screaming, but the fall was short. He landed in what felt like mud, except it wasn't mud. It was soft, fleshy, warm. The ground was made of faces, half buried, eyes open, lips moving soundlessly. He recognized them, faces from the notebook. All those names, all those people, one of them even looked like him. He turned to run, but before he could, something wrapped around his ankle. A pale arm rose from the ground, followed by another, then another. They weren't trying to hurt him. They were pulling him close. And as he struggled, the walls above split open, revealing rows of faintly glowing eyes watching from the shadows. The voice came one last time, not from the walls, but from inside his own head. Now you will be remembered. The floor swallowed him whole. The cabin went silent again. A few moments later, the door appeared once more, unlocked, slightly open. The cup of tea was back on the table. The notebook lay beside it, open to a fresh page, and a new line slowly carved itself into the paper, letter by letter. Daniel Pierce, remembered forever. The first thing Lena noticed when she moved into her new apartment was the quiet. Too quiet. After 5 years in the city, the silence of the Mapleview complex felt unnatural. No traffic, no barking dogs, not even footsteps in the hallway. Just silence, thick, heavy, and endless. She'd gotten the apartment cheap. The landlord, a tired-looking man named Mr. Halbrook, handed her the keys without small talk. "It's been empty a while," he said. "People don't stay long." "Why not?" she'd asked. He'd shrugged. "Thin walls." But the walls weren't thin. They were the thickest she'd ever seen, layers of old paint, solid brick beneath. Still, on her first night, she swore she heard something through them. Not voices exactly, whispers, soft, rhythmic, like someone praying on the other side. She pressed her ear to the wall, but the sound stopped instantly. For the next few days, everything felt off. The lights flickered at exactly 3:12 a.m. every night. Her phone glitched when she tried to take photos in the hallway. And sometimes, when she stood in front of the bathroom mirror, the reflection behind her seemed to shift, just slightly, as if the room had breathed. One night, while brushing her teeth, she heard it again. The whispering, clearer now, coming from the air vent above the sink. 9, 9, 9. She stared up, frozen. The voices were counting, always stopping at 9. She climbed on the counter, peering into the vent with her flashlight. Dust, pipes, darkness. Then something moved. A pale eye blinked once, then vanished. She fell backward, cracking the mirror. Her heart pounded, but when she ran to check the other apartments for help, every door in the corridor was locked. Every nameplate was blank. The next morning, she stormed to the landlord's office. "There's someone in the vents," she shouted. "And the neighbors, where are they?" Mr. Halbrook sighed heavily. "Miss Carter, there are no neighbors." "What?" "Building's been empty for 2 years. You're the first tenant since the incident." "What incident?" she asked, but he just looked away. That night she couldn't sleep. The whispers came again, this time closer. She turned on every light, grabbed her phone, started recording. The video showed static at first, then faint figures in the background, flickering like shadows underwater. When she turned, the room was empty. But her video kept recording, and in the playback, someone stood behind her, whispering in her ear. "You're in apartment 9 again, Lena." She dropped the phone, breathing hard. Again, she opened her front door to escape, and froze. The hallway had changed. It stretched endlessly now, doors on both sides repeating the same number. 9. Every door identical, every knob cold to the touch. She turned back toward her room, but it wasn't there anymore. Just another door labeled 9. She opened one at random and found herself staring into her own apartment. When Daniel moved into the boarding house on Willow Street, he didn't care that it was old. He didn't care that the walls peeled like skin or that the hallway smelled faintly of mold. He only cared that it was cheap and quiet. The landlady, Mrs. Crane, was an old woman with glassy eyes and a smile that never seemed to move her face. She handed him a heavy brass key and said softly, "Room 7, end of the hall. Don't worry about the one across from you. It stays locked." Daniel nodded, thinking nothing of it. He'd just started a night shift job and needed somewhere to sleep during the day. A silent house was exactly what he wanted. That night after work, he returned home around 3 a.m. The other tenants were asleep. The building was dark except for the faint yellow glow of a hallway bulb. His footsteps echoed against the floorboards as he passed the closed doors. Then he noticed it. Someone had left a light on behind the door across from his. Room 8. He remembered what Mrs. Crane said. It was supposed to be locked. He paused, watching the faint glow beneath the door. The air felt thick, cold. Then he heard something, faint whispering, like someone talking too softly to understand. He leaned closer. The whispering stopped. The doorknob clicked once. He hurried into his room, locked his door, and told himself he was imagining it. The next morning, he asked Mrs. Crane about it. She froze for a moment, then said, "Room 8 is empty, dear. It's been empty for a very long time." He wanted to press her, but didn't. There was something in her voice like warning or fear. That night, Daniel woke to a sound. A faint creaking, steady and slow. He opened his eyes and realized it was coming from the wall beside his bed, the one shared with room 8. Someone was tapping, once every few seconds. Tap, tap, tap. He pressed his ear to the wall. From the other side, a voice whispered, soft, childlike, "Can you hear me?" He froze, his heart hammered. The voice came again. "Please, let me out." Daniel stumbled back from the wall, trembling. He didn't sleep again that night. In the morning, he went straight to Mrs. Crane's office. Her eyes were red, as if she hadn't slept. "You heard her, didn't you?" she asked quietly. He stared at her. "Who?" Mrs. Crane looked toward the hall, then shut the office door. "My daughter," she said. That room was hers. When the old plaster caved in 10 years ago, we found something in the walls, bones, small ones. They said it was a stray animal, but I know better. She used to talk to something that wasn't there. Then one night she disappeared. The next day I heard tapping. Daniel felt sick. "Why didn't you move?" "I tried," she whispered. "But the house doesn't let go. Once you hear her voice, you belong to it." He left without another word. That night he tried to sleep in his truck, parked down the street. Around 2 a.m., he woke to a sound against the window, faint tapping. Tap, tap, tap. He looked up. A small pale hand was pressed against the glass. A child's face peered in, eyes hollow and wet. Her lips moved silently, forming words he couldn't hear. He turned the key in the ignition, but the engine wouldn't start. The tapping grew faster, harder. Then, all at once, it stopped. When he looked again, the window was fogged from the inside. The next morning, he returned to pack his things. Mrs. Crane's door was open, swinging gently in the draft. He called her name. No answer. The hallway felt colder than usual. The light flickered. His door, room 7, was wide open. The inside looked wrong. The furniture was different. Dust covered everything, thick and gray, as if no one had lived there in years. And across the hall, the door to room 8 stood open for the first time. He should have run. Instead, he stepped closer. The air inside was freezing. The room was empty except for a small wooden chair in the center. On it sat a child's doll, its porcelain face cracked, one glass eye missing. The wall behind it was covered in marks, hundreds of small handprints pressed deep into the plaster. Something moved in the corner. A small shadow crouched low, breathing softly. "Mrs. Crane?" he whispered. The shadow stood up. It wasn't Mrs. Crane, it was a little girl. Her head tilted slowly as she stepped forward, bare feet silent against the floor. Her eyes were gray and empty. "Can you hear me now?" she asked. He stumbled back, tripping over the doorway. The girl smiled, a broken, painful smile, and reached for him. Her fingers brushed his arm, ice cold, and suddenly he wasn't in the hallway anymore. He was in the room, and the door was closing. He screamed, pounding on the walls, but the sound was swallowed, muffled, fading. The house sighed softly, as if settling. The light went out. A few days later, a new tenant arrived. A young woman, quiet and polite. Mrs. Crane, older now, thinner, handed her a key. "Room 7, she said gently. "End of the hall." The woman smiled. "And the one across from it?" Mrs. Crane's smile never changed. "That one stays locked." But that night, as the new tenant carried her boxes inside, she noticed a faint whisper through the wall, soft, childlike. "Can you hear me?" And from somewhere deep inside the plaster, something tapped 3 times. Tap, tap, tap.
Subscribe to my channel for more interesting and dark horror stories.